Nobody gives much thought to the building superintendent. That's the first thing you learn when you take the job. You become part of the infrastructure, like the boiler, like the hallway lights. People look through you. After 31 years on the force and a retirement that came 6 months earlier than expected, invisible suited me just fine. At first, it started with the trash. Apartment 4's tenant college kid name on the lease was Ryan kept putting his bags out at 10 p.m. Building rules said 6 a.m. on pickup days. I left a note. He ignored it, left another. He taped it back to my door with a smiley face drawn on it. That was his first mistake. I told myself the microphone in the hallway was just practical. Sound travels differently in old buildings, footsteps, voices, the particular creak of someone moving around at 2 a.m. I needed to know what was happening in my building. That was my job. That was my responsibility. Within a month, I had 4 more. Stairwells, laundry room, the mailbox alcove. I built a small monitoring station in my apartment, nothing fancy, a laptop, and a cheap audio interface. Evenings I'd sit with a cup of decaf and listen. Conversations, arguments, phone calls taken in the hallway because the signal was better out there. I told myself I wasn't really listening, just keeping watch. I started a file on every tenant, not just names and lease dates, the old system I'd maintained for years. This was different. Ryan's visitors, logged by time and description. The couple in 7, and the frequency of their arguments. The woman in 2B, who received packages every Thursday from a sender whose name I'd memorized. I opened one of those packages. Just once, I told myself. Then twice. By winter, I understood something clearly. This building needed me in a way its tenants would never appreciate or acknowledge. They left doors propped open, violated quiet hours, let their guests park in reserved spots without consequence. Without me, the whole structure, social, not just physical, would collapse. I was the only thing holding it together, the only one who saw everything. Ryan had to go. Not because of the trash anymore, that was just the beginning, the first symptom of something deeper. He played music past 11. He had people over on weeknights. He once left his bicycle in the main hallway for 6 hours. Small things, individually. But I'd been watching long enough to understand that small things were never really small. The plan took 3 weeks. A noise complaint filed under the name of a tenant who'd moved out 8 months ago. I still had her key fob, never deactivated. A maintenance request that required access to his unit while he was in class, during which certain observations were made and noted. An anonymous call to the landlord regarding a subletting arrangement that may or may not have existed. Ryan was gone by February. I stood in the empty apartment the day after he left. Scuff marks on the wall where his desk had been. A forgotten phone charger still plugged in near the window. I unplugged it, pocketed it, walked back down the hall to my unit, sat down at my monitoring station, and turned up the volume. Quiet building, peaceful, just the way I like it. Nobody wants this job. I know because I've trained 9 replacements in 11 years and not one lasted more than 3 months. They always say the same thing when they quit. Too quiet. Those people never learn to tell the difference between the right kind of quiet and the wrong kind. The binder lives in the bottom drawer of the security desk. 43 pages, handwritten. I call it the rules. New guys think it's a joke. I walk them through the main ones and I can see it on their faces. The old man's lost it. They humor me, spend their first solo shift watching something on their phone. Most of them are fine. Most. The rules started with the light in corridor 4. The warehouse stores decommissioned mannequins, hundreds of them, arms detached, heads boxed separately, torsos wrapped in plastic. A fluorescent strip above section 4C had a loose connection maintenance never fixed. On cold nights, it flickered. The first time I walked over to check it, my flashlight died. I stood in complete darkness for somewhere between 10 seconds and 3 minutes. My sense of time went wrong. When the light came back, everything looked exactly the same. But I had the absolute conviction that something in that corridor had just decided not to let me see it. I wrote the first rule that night. If the light in corridor 4 flickers at 3:15 a.m., do not look at it. Sit at the desk and wait. The rules grew slowly. one at a time. If you hear movement in mannequin storage after 2 a.m., it is always the building settling. Do not verify this. Camera 6 will sometimes show a hallway that doesn't match the building's current layout. Log the timestamp. Do not rewind the footage. People ask if I actually believe any of it. I tell them, it doesn't matter. Following the rules costs nothing. Not following them has never gone well. Tonight, the light flickered at exactly 3:15. I'm at the desk now. I can see the pulse of it at the far edge of my vision if I turn slightly left. I'm not turning left. The wrong kind of quiet has a texture, not the absence of sound, but the presence of something nearby choosing not to make noise. That's what I'm sitting in right now. 3:47. The light stopped at 3:44. I'm adding a note to the binder. Duration increasing. I'll figure out the new rule tomorrow, in daylight, when the building sounds right again. Tonight I'm going to sit here and wait. That's the job, knowing when to look, and knowing when not to. Nobody at the office knows my name. They know the ticket system, username, IT support 04, and they know to leave their laptops outside my door. That's the extent of it. I have my own world. It started as a hobby. The internet forgets nothing technically, but people behave as if it does, deleting posts, closing accounts, scrubbing usernames. Something about that bothered me. The false erasure. I started saving things. Defunct forums, abandoned blogs, deleted profiles. By 26, I had 11 external drives. When Mia joined in March, the whole office noticed. Effortless. Funny. Remembered everyone's coffee order by the end of week 1. Within a month, she had lunch plans every day. People laughed differently around her. I watched from the help desk and felt nothing. That's what I told myself. 3 weeks in, out of habit, I looked her up. It took 40 minutes. A Tumblr from 2013, deactivated but cached. A forum account, deleted but archived. Photographs from a relationship that ended badly posted publicly once, removed within hours, but not before a crawler caught them. Her at 17, lost, trying on personalities that didn't fit. The posts were painful not because they were dark, but because they were so recognizably young. The desperation to be seen. The shame spiral after every vulnerable post. She'd buried it carefully. Built something new on top. And here it was, in my hands. I could have used it. I know exactly how. I closed every tab instead. Then I did something I'd never done in 11 years of archiving. I deleted it. All of it. I don't fully understand why. Maybe because her loneliness at 17 felt less like finding something on someone else, and more like finding something familiar. Maybe because the archive was never really about preservation. Maybe it was about proof. That I existed in relation to people who didn't know I was there. She stopped by the help desk last Thursday. While I worked, she glanced at my screen folders, drive trees, years of collected data. "What is all that?" she asked. "Things people threw away," I said. She looked at it for a moment. Seems lonely. Not unkindly, just honest. She took her laptop and left. I sat there looking at the drives along the wall. 11 of them. I opened a new folder.